The war in Russia and Ukraine is entering a very dangerous phase. We have to be in no doubt at all about that. We're now beginning to get cases of spying on either side. So, yesterday there was a man arrested in Austria, in Vienna, a Greek man accused of spying for the Russians. And yesterday also there was a man who was sentenced in Sevastopol by the Russians in Sevastopol for spying. A Russian man who was accused and sentenced for spying for Ukraine. He gathered and passed on information about the activities of the Black Sea Fleet that could be used against the security of the Russian Federation to Ukrainian Defense Ministry's main intelligence directorate between 2020 and 2021. This man's name, I mean, he should really be rewarded. I think he's actually going to be serving a 12-year prison sentence in a Russian penal colony, and he's also been fined 100,000 rubles. That's just over £1,500. Yevgeny Petrushkin, and you know, so there's that. Once you start looking at spying, you know that there's a lot of ambiguity in the story and in what's going on. At the same time, there's ambiguity in what's being reported, and it's simply not clear what's going on. Where is President Putin? So we know that he's went to Belarus today to see his puppy, Lukashenko. And what else was he doing? There's speculation, is he planning to flee the capital? Well, the answer is no. The answer has to be no. So whatever, I think it's the Times or the Telegraph was talking about a Noah's Ark plan for him to go to Argentina or Venezuela. It's simply a non-starter. The United Arab Emirates is another place that's being cited, or China. I think of all of those, China is probably the most likely place that Putin would go for asylum should he need it. But I don't think the Chinese would be very pleased to take a sort of second-rate tyrant who's been defeated. And the nature of that defeat is extremely ambiguous as well. Could he be defeated by the hawks in his own backyard, or could he be defeated by the doves who want to make peace and draw this bitter war to an end? It is going to become a war of attrition. There are three possibilities. And the West needs to be very careful, because all three are equally possible. First of all, if Ukraine lacks continued support, if Ukraine fails to get the support it needs from Europe, it will fail. And from NATO, it will fail. If it gets modest support, it will keep moving forward in a slow and sure way, and it may indeed get to a point where it can negotiate from a position of strength with Russia. I don't think, for all President Zelensky's claims yesterday about recapturing Crimea, I don't think that's ever going to be on the cards. But threatening the Crimea might well be a way to bring the Kremlin to a negotiating table. And simply to take back some of that land may be a signal victory that both sides could live with. It may be enough. Russia would have got a blooded nose and an excuse to retreat, but could still claim that this has been worth it in some strange, mad way. The third possibility is the most alarming, and that is if NATO overextends its help to Ukraine, then it risks the possibility of this conflict overspilling and indeed of World War III. So that is the balance which is being weighed up. How much support can the West give to Ukraine without pushing the Russian bear into World War III? Now, Putin has said he will not strike first. However, Putin cannot be believed. Putin has a record of deceit. And at the moment, there's other stuff going on. Why is Putin hiding? Why is he not doing his press thing, which he was so famous for doing, this 4-hour press extravaganza, carefully choreographed? I mean, surely Putin is capable of carefully choreographing a press session, even if he denies access to the foreign media. But there's always the possibility of a difficult question being pitched by somebody. And there's always the possibility that because it's live, he can be held up to ridicule. There's always a possibility of some extremely brave journalist or presenter running on stage with a banner. We've seen that in the news. And I suspect it's simply to avoid ridicule, and because he has nothing positive to say, that he's ducking the media. I don't think it's because he's particularly ill, certainly no iller than he's been in the past. And is there anything else? Well, the idea of this Noah's Ark thing, the idea that he might be planning to escape, I'm sure that's in his mind at some point. But I don't think it's a certainty because there is no alternative to Putin at the moment in Russia.